You're all too kind. So I hope you can hear me okay. Obviously, the universe has thrown this curveball, so I'm going to have to do it without the microphone. So now we're all back from lunch. I just wanted to get really present and to just take 3 deep breaths together before I start the presentation. So we'll breathe in through our nose for 3, hold it for 3, and then exhale out the mouth for 3 as well. If we all do that together, I'll guide you through as well. So inhale through the nose, deep breath in, right to the belly. We're going to inhale all the good stuff, the love, bliss, joy, excitement, and exhale that out. We're going to exhale any stress, anxiety, any worry. And another deep breath in. This time just come really present to where we are, noticing the seat beneath you or the floor that you sat on, any sounds around you, and exhale. And the last deep breath in. And this time, just really become present and notice your heartbeat. You might want to put your hand on your chest and feel your heart pumping. It's doing that every single second for us. And exhale that out. So welcome everyone. I just wanted to ground us before we started. So this presentation is called The 4 Secrets to Food Freedom. And you might be wondering what food freedom is. So food freedom is basically so we can eat what we want, when we want, but we're only going to want the good stuff. We no longer want those foods that are going to give us low self-worth, they're going to make us feel regret, they might give us extra weight that we no longer want. And the way that we do this is by retraining the brain, retraining our mind. Our mind is so powerful beyond that we could ever imagine. So how did I end up here? I'm now eating a high raw vegan diet. And I love cooked food like the rest of us. I'm like, what the hell? And I even had this calling. And I was like, why me, God? Why me? I love cooked food. I love junk foods. But yeah, I had this calling that this is that, it's the higher vibrational food. So the high raw diet, I don't say fully raw because I don't want to put myself in that box. But raw being it's uncooked, because that's denaturing our foods. Even the smell, the temptations, it's all around us all of the time, the smell of the cooked foods here. And so yeah, we have that all around us all of the time. It's uncooked, it's in its natural state, it's not had any additives, it's a whole food, nothing removed from it either. So I ended up on this journey. I knew a friend that was doing raw before me, and she'd said that she felt all of this joy. And me knowing that joy is close to the top of the vibrational scale, I just thought, I want to try that. So I looked into it further, and then I did the research and realised it's for a closer spiritual connection, closer, better mental clarity, closer intuition. And knowing my human design as well, I've got the intuition defined, and I thought, this is my strength. I want that superpower. I'm going to have to go raw. So I decided I'll just do it in, when I'm on my own, I wasn't that bothered about cooking anyway, it saves washing up. But I thought in social situations and with family, with friends, I'll still enjoy all the cooked foods. And the further that I was looking into this, then I had this calling. And so this journey I've been on for about a year now. It is a journey. And I just wanted to relate it to as well. My background, which Luke has already mentioned, is in a drug and alcohol team in addiction services. And I call cooked food like the ultimate addiction. So we all have so many of them. And when I was working at my previous role, the drug and alcohol team, I did further research on alcohol. And I then realised alcohol wasn't serving me anymore. And I just stopped. It was really easy. And so even though we're all kind of addicted to it, if we're still drinking at any time, I obviously that didn't serve me anymore. It didn't bother me not having a drink again. But when it comes to the junk foods and the cooked foods, this was a whole other story. And we can relate so much to our cravings to the junk foods and the cooked foods. It's the same with any addiction. So I am on a mission to raise the vibration, to raise this collective consciousness, and this is how we do it. It begins with, we've all got gut issues, we're all giving in to our addictions, our cravings, and if we really want to see consciousness evolve, consciousness expand, we have to say goodbye to all of that. The junk foods are slowing us down, they're holding us back, and we're creating this new earth. The fact that all of you are here, you're all high vibrational beings. So we want to be eating the higher vibrational foods. This gives us high vibrational thoughts. And so this is how we do it. If we want to think sharper and on to the next level, I've met the most amazing community through the Raw community. Everyone is awake to all of the corruption that's going on. Everyone is really successful in whatever it is that they do. And that is because we are the change makers. And so this is the next level. Many people aren't even ready to hear it, let alone contemplate it. People think I'm crazy for doing that, and cooked food's all around us, and eating out is such a big thing, socially. So it is a huge lifestyle change. So I'll come on to the 4 secrets of food freedom in a second, because we can relate it to any of our addictions. I'll relate it to the food cravings, just because that's more relatable to me and relatable to my journey, because I found alcohol real easy, and I never even liked caffeine, so I can't relate quite the same to those. But we can't, these stages that I'll talk you through, we can relate that to everything. And so first of all, we need a vision, why it is we want to do this. And our vision needs to be greater than ourselves. So when we're doing something that's greater than ourselves, when we have those temptations and the cravings, we can bring it back to the vision and why it is that we're actually doing this. So my vision being greater than myself is that I've just explained. This is to expand the consciousness, because this is how we do it. This is how all of us think like our sharper selves. We're waking up on, it's on a higher frequency. So this is the reason being greater than me, because I'm doing it for humanity. It's not just for myself. Yes. When we then do this for ourselves, it then inspires others to do the same. And this is having a ripple effect on the collective. So the 4 secrets then. I'm going to use the flip chart. And so we can relate this to any of our addictions. So this is how we do it. If we want to quit anything, it's do these 4 things and have that vision. Okay, so the first one is the power hour. Okay, so the power hour. We all need a power hour. We can customize it to ourselves, but when we're spending at least an hour a day on our self-development, and this is what we've got to be doing now. If we really want to be the change makers, we've really got to put that time in. And if you say to me, oh, I've not got an hour, then we need to work that out. We need to find where we can find an hour. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, so we need to prioritize this and prioritize ourselves. So I cut back. I was fortunate that I was able to cut back at work, and to do that, I then cut back on all my spending as well. So it was like, people can get presents off me if I choose to buy them a gift, or I can show my love in another way. I'm not buying gifts because the calendar is telling me to do so, and not buying into all of that materialism and consumerism, and you're then freed of all this stress of what to buy people who might not even want it. So make yourself get some time back. And the power hour, so first thing in the morning is really ideal. We've got our fresh brains, our morning brains, and part of my power hour is meditation. And so I'd say this has to be an essential one. We've all got different self-development techniques, and we can all network afterwards and find out what each other's strengths are and share that as well. I seem to have like a resistance to breath works. It's amazing when I do it, but I don't know if I'm like at home too lazy or so like, yeah, if we network with each other. But what really works for me is meditation. And the reason why this is so important when it comes to our addictions and our cravings is because when we become the observer of our thoughts, then we're able to recognize our thoughts later on in the day. So if then we have a craving, we can think, it's only a craving, I'll let that pass. So meditation is best at the bookends of the day, first thing and last thing when we're closest to our subconscious. I've upped my practice to bring it in twice a day, not always as good in the evening and at it, but highly recommend first thing, because this is when we're going to ground ourselves for the day. Luke mentioned timelines, I speak in timelines too. It puts us on our optimal timeline. So that we're thinking sharpest, and if we do this, set clear boundaries with your families, with your phones, so that your meditation comes before you're influenced by anything else external, and you will notice your life change. And I know people can be put off by, I can't clear my mind, that kind of thing. And I think this is just a misconception. All we're doing is becoming the observer of our thoughts, so that we can then recognize that later on when we might be getting a craving throughout the day. So that helps. And then other parts of my power hour is, so then I'd go into journaling. And journaling is a way that our subconscious speaks to us. And even if you don't read it back, just getting it out. And so like maybe put something like, what does my soul want to tell me today? And just see what comes up. Journaling, it's so therapeutic, it's free healing, it's the secret of millionaires, so get doing it. And so yeah, journaling would then come next. I'd get a cold shower, and then also what I like to do is get into flow state. So flow state is when we're taken out of our minds and we're doing something that's creating. We're here to create, we're all the mighty creator, and this is what we're here for. We're here to have fun and joy, and whatever it is that you're passionate about, by you living in passion, you then inspire others to live their passion too. Absolutely. So when we're getting into flow state, this can actually be a little bit easier sometimes than meditation, but it has the same benefits. Meditation sometimes we're like wrestling with our mind. It might feel like it's taking ages. Whereas this, you can get lost in flow state. So yeah, it doesn't always come natural to everyone, but just make yourself do it. It is worth it. This is how we're going to expand. So that'll help with addictions too. We'll move on to the second part, the second secret, which is the chemistry. So this is for all the science lovers, and I'm no science expert, and I didn't particularly need lots of science. I'll explain it the best that I can, but it does help to know a little bit. I do like bringing in both. So the chemistry is just learning how our brain works, and basically when our brain is functioning and our bodies are functioning exactly as they should. We form good habits and we form bad habits, and the good habits are there for our survival. We'll go on autopilot, and this is how we get through the day. But then we'll form these bad habits as well. And so it's absolutely not doing anything wrong. And so what we've got to do is just reverse that. This is how we're doing it. We're going to raise our vibrations so high by doing all of the personal development, doing all of the inner work, that we then no longer want foods that are going to make us feel shitty and low self-worth. And that's how we collectively do it. And there's a thing that we all eat on emotions, and we might binge, overeat, that kind of thing. And a craving, they say, would last like 2 to 15 minutes. So they say, like, distract yourself, and then that craving's past then, which, yeah, great, it probably will. But then what if it comes back again? And then you're exhausted, you're like, oh no, I'm just giving into it this time, I'm not going through that mind game again, that's too much of a battle. So what we need to understand here is the chemistry, because actually all it is when the neurons that fire together because we're using that all of the time. So if we keep binging and we keep, we're just repetitively doing that. So then it's like, going on a ski track, going down the same slope all of the time. So we want to rewire it another way. So it's actually, it sounds simple, but it's just a case of not doing that anymore. But when we understand the chemistry behind it, then we understand ourselves a little bit more. And the third one, so the practicals. So this is to help our future selves. There's always temptation around, like say, those cooked foods, or they say with alcohol that it's like the hardest drug to stop because it's so accepted in culture and it's at every gathering, at every social event. But then, the ultimate addiction, cooked food, really is even harder. And then the junk foods, the sugars and everything, they're given to us at such a young age. So it's caring for our future self while we rewire our brain by doing all of this inner work. In the process of rewiring our brain so that we no longer want those foods, then we need to be kind to ourselves. So I, for example, will put at least 5 bananas in a smoothie before I'm going out so that I'm filled up on the good stuff. It's telling your friends and family, I'm on this healthy path now, I don't want these foods anymore, so they might not be put in your face, and clearing it all out of your house. The shop's never far away, but it might put a distance between that and the cupboard, for example. So that's just being kind to your future self. And then the fourth one is the fulfillment. So this is kind of like you're giving back. This is the activism. This is our service work. We're here to serve others, but we can't do that if our cup is not full first. So we have to be doing this inner work, like I was saying, so that when we're recharged, then we're able to give to others. And so many people get this wrong, that they just give and give and give, and you're no use to anyone if you're burned out. The fulfillment stage is a big part of our journey. It's a big part of our well-being. Our well-being also includes what we're listening to, watching, just the negativity, just who we're surrounding ourselves with, maybe toxic relationships. So it's all part of forming a healthy relationship as well. I wanted to mention this earlier on, I'll mention it now. So this is how we do it without willpower, because willpower is a contradiction for the mind. With willpower, we think we're depriving ourselves of something, but when we're absolutely not depriving ourselves of anything, if it's going to make us feel low self-worth, it's going to make us feel regret, all these low vibrations. So willpower will inevitably run out because you're always going to be thinking you're depriving. So I use the example of I don't drink alcohol because I'm fearful of the consequences of the liver damage and all the emotional and physical illnesses that alcohol can bring. I don't drink alcohol because I love myself and I want to thrive, I want to feel amazing, and I no longer want to have something that's going to lower my vibration as much as alcohol does. And this is where we bring in choosing love over fear. There's only 2 emotions, and the one's near the top of the vibrational scale, one's near the bottom of the vibrational scale. So they're 2 very different drivers. So why is it that you want to be doing this? Is this a decision made out of love, or is it a decision made out of fear? And that's just something to notice you're driving, because then if it's the fear-based, it's more likely to be off willpower, and then willpower will run out. It might be a good driver for you at first, but during that time when you're using the willpower, this is when we've got to reprogram and retrain the brain to no longer want things that are detrimental to our health. We want to thrive. We came here to thrive and live in joy, and us lot, we're doing it. We're doing it for everyone, for the next generation who are relying on us. I think that's about everything. So if you wanted to know more from me, I'm on social medias, I'm Evie V activist. So I do offer support with this, because activist, don't spell it right. So yeah, on YouTube and then all the other socials then, I offer coaching for this as well, because even though I've told you what we do, like we sometimes need that accountability and that support, that community, because this is how we make changes and everything. So, is there anything else? I think that was...
I would love to share my experience of knowing Evie for the last year and a half or something. Yeah. And Evie's on a really similar path to me, and I don't say this from like an ego perspective, but I call it the path to purity. That's like my what I seem to be on is just like stripping away any addictions that don't serve me, and just being this most high vibrational version of myself, which is tough when society keeps trying to pull you into all of the different things that might not be so pure. And Evie's really been on that path. Her health transformation has been phenomenal. Her discipline is incredible. Like, how long did you do juicing for?
45 days.
45 days of just juices.
Yeah. Might need to return to it as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
And like in terms of Evie's physical health, in terms of her energy, in terms of everything, but one of the most incredible things has been your sensitivity. And I was just talking with my wife about you last night. Something that we do, talk about our friends. I was like, Evie's so sensitive now to anything that's not pure. Which is super, super interesting. So she'll say, I don't get a good vibe from this. And the more we clear ourselves from these addictions, the more we become sensitive. And just like we're talking about with Geraldine at the hypoallergenic fair, so many of us are becoming super, super, super sensitive. So everything that Evie is talking about there has been my direct experience as well. And I saw some of you, because I was watching in the side, like, we know, right? Who wants to have more energy? That's nice. Who wants to have more energy? Who wants to be healthier? Happier? Right, so we know, don't we? We know in our hearts, if we're meditating, getting connected in the morning, getting into flow state, and we rewire our brains, and we're taking care of it, we're nourishing our body with the best foods, right, and we're topping up our tank and we're making sure we're full, we know we're going to be even more amazing, aren't we?
Yes.
But we also probably know that this is a path and a journey, and it's probably going to have some ups and downs and challenges and trials and tribulations. So get with some people, get some support, if it's from Evie or whoever, like get an accountability group. When I go to the gym, I always do better if I have a gym buddy. Like, it just helps me. And so I would go around to Evie's house and she'd make me these huge like pineapple juices, you know? And it's like so good. My wife just literally on the way here, she just came in, she brought me a nice green juice. And like, it's easy for me to drink this because people keep giving me it. I didn't have this before, and I was thinking, oh, I might go and get some food from the food thing. And then my wife comes and she says, you need a juice, right? And she gives me a juice. So basically, yeah, make friends with Evie, make friends with my wife. But just like Evie said, ask your friends to support you. Like, really, ask your friends to support you. When you go around to your friend's house, you don't want them like, oh, go on, just have one glass of wine. Come on, you know, it used to be fun. All those things that they do, those little digs that they say. And it's about being in your power. And what you find is either those friends who do want to sabotage you, for me, they just faded away. And now I'm surrounded by amazing people who totally get me. And a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them, are either all plant-based or on the raw food journey. That's just how it's happening to be. I'm not saying that's like anyone who's not on that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just my observation. The people I'm vibing with at the moment really are like fully plant-powered. And in January, I got told by my guidance I couldn't have sugar anymore, like refined sugar. So I've been sugar-free since January, which was a trip, because everything has sugar in it. And that was actually not that hard, because exactly the same as Evie said, my health is more important than 5 seconds tasting a donut. It's not even a thing. Like, it's not even a choice. It's taken away the choice. You can't tempt me, even if it's a super, super tasty donut. Like, there's no way. You can dangle it in my face. I'm not having it.
Raw donuts with just nuts and all that stuff and dates and so you can still have a donut, but it's a healthy donut.
Juliet has a whole cookbook. Juliet has a whole cookbook on raw desserts. If anyone's interested, you can get it from her website. Or from her from her table. It's even easier. Can we give Evie another big round of applause?